Hi, so I said when I started doing a couple of these blogs that I would do more as and when I found a topic that I wanted to talk about, or if I went to a particular event and I thought it was worthy of me talking about or whatever. So today I went to No 10 Downing Street again. So for those of you who've watched the previous video, I did a video about my goals and ambitions, and on my goals list there was one to go to No 10 Downing Street and provide some level of advice. So I went to a meeting a couple of weeks ago, and that was just an open discussion about where they needed help. And then today I attended a roundtable discussion, which basically was for women, more specifically ethnic minority women in business. They're talking about how the government could better support women in business, particularly looking at the needs of the ethnic minority population. So it was a really good opportunity, actually. I think it's good to see the government making an effort to get normal people, for all intents and purposes, into No 10 to have these conversations and to potentially have an impact on the things that the government decides to do or legislate for. And so I think it was a great opportunity. I think there was a great selection of women in the room, all from different backgrounds, different businesses, different ways of looking at the opportunities and so on. So I think that was great. And I think Nero and his team did really well to do that. So when the meeting opened, obviously you have the traditional kind of elevator pitch moment where everyone goes around introducing themselves. And then they started talking about the race audit. So, to give you some context, I'll tell you exactly what the meeting was called. So, I don't know if you can see this, but basically it was a ethnic minority women in trade roundtable to discuss opportunities and challenges for women in trade and to hear about the race disparity audit. So, for those of you who don't know about the racial disparity audit, I didn't either until I had gone to the meeting at Downing Street. And so basically there was an audit that took place because Theresa May decided that she would like to do more to look at the issues of racial disparity in the UK across varying parts of the UK kind of infrastructure. So including education, training, employment, business, health, justice system and so on. And so if you're really interested, there's a website, which is ethnicity-facts-figures.service.gov.uk. And this website this page is new to the government website and is going to become a permanent fixture and basically highlight some of the statistics that are most relevant for people from an ethnic minority background. So they opened the meeting looking at kind of some of the important stats that they felt were most important or relevant to the meeting. So they looked at business and self-employment. And just actually to give you a really interesting stat, just to start with actually. So in terms of the way the UK is made up, so I don't know, you might know this already, but 87% of the UK is white and 13% is black, Asian, mixed or other. And so this is what this website is for. It caters to anyone who is not white basically, but covers every ethnicity to kind of show for comparison. So the first thing they looked at was self-employment. 15% of the UK in 2016 were self-employed. Pakistani and Bangladeshi people are the most likely to be self-employed. Who knew? And black people apparently are the least likely. So, okay, that was an interesting stat, and she kind of broke down how that works and how that's happened. And then we looked at the access to startup loans, because loans or finance, I think, is one of the major barriers to people starting a business or to looking at their business as a business, not a hobby. And so I think startup loan access is really relevant there. So they looked at the startup loans and 44,000 people were given a startup loan between 2013 and 2016. And according to these stats, black and mixed ethnicity people are the most likely to receive a startup loan and Asian people were the least likely. Now, it seems like an odd scenario there because it said Asian and Bangladeshi people were the most likely to be self-employed, but yet the least likely to get a startup loan. Black people the least likely to be self-employed, but the most likely to get a startup loan. It just seemed a bit odd. So we all started asking questions about that. And I think what's interesting is with stats, you can make anything sound positive. Like you could take a percentage and just make it sound great. So, you know, some of the stats on here for mixed ethnicity people are 4 times more likely to receive a startup loan, and about, you know, how many black people get a startup loan. When you really dig deep into the figures, you know, the stat says of 10,000 per 10,000 people who are part of the economically active population, 26.9 received a loan. So 26.9 per 10,000, 26.9 people per 10,000 receive a loan. And that makes black people the highest ethnicity to receive loans. So when you look at it, you've got Asian 3.1 per 10,000, mixed 14 per 10,000, white 2.3 per 10,000, other 0.6, and black 26.9. So it makes it sound like, wow, black people are really getting the startup loans. However, it's per 10,000 of the economically active population. As I said earlier, black people make up less than 10% of the UK population. So when you really look at how many loans that represents, black people received 2,301 loans in 2013, and white people received 6,554 loans. So we're not the highest, we're the strongest in terms of the ethnic minority population to receive a startup loan, but we're nowhere close to how many white people are receiving loans. It sounds really annoying to keep saying white, black, but look, this was the premise of the conversation, so I'm just outlining here. And then what was really interesting is the clear decline. So it went from there being, you know, in 2013, 2,300 loans given out to white people, to in 2016, 691. So a few thousand down to 691, 7 per 10,000 people were getting a loan. For the Asian community, 1.8 per 10,000 people. So less than 2 people. You know, these issues are just not high enough on the agenda, in my opinion. And actually, my biggest gripe isn't with the startup loan scenario, because I think it's good that there's a startup loan option. I think it's good that the government have looked at that. My biggest issue is the fact that actually what I think it could be more relevant, or is more relevant to most entrepreneurs when they go about their business, is banking. So when you decide to start a business, if you're doing the right thing, you will set up your limited company, or you will set up your company in the way you choose to in terms of legal format, and you will then go to a bank and you will open a business bank account. That's kind of what you're supposed to do. So you go to the bank, open a business bank account, and you realise at that point that maybe you need some help, some financial backing in order to make your business idea a reality. If you've done an appropriate business plan, you have an idea of financially the requirements that the amount of money you require in order to make a really good go of that business and make it more than a hobby and more of a business that is able to employ other people, that it has the infrastructure and the office, or whatever it is you need to make your business the most commercially viable. So you go to your bank, and in my experience, unfortunately, a lot of the banks are not able to help businesses by giving them the loans that they need. So I don't know who's watching this, I don't know how much you know, but when I finished The Apprentice, I had a really strong business plan. I had spoken to factories. I had a really clear illustration of what I felt I needed to get ahead, to start that business. And the requirements from the bank were so detailed, but the higher level information that they provide from a marketing perspective makes it appear as though they will freely give out loans, because there is a government-backed loan scheme, which means the government backs that loan by up to 50%. Should the business not succeed and the money need to be repaid, the government will back 50% of the loan. That was what was happening back then in 2014. But the bank had so many tick boxes and requirements that the average person would not be able to get that loan. It's just not possible for them to get the type of loan that they would need from the bank. All right, this is just my opinion, but I'm not the only person that's encountered this. I've spoken to numerous people, many of whom were around the table talking about this today. And even if you have a really good, solid business plan, and if you've been in business for a very long time, you've had an account with that bank, you can show a financial track record, your business is doing well, but you need a bit more, or you need a lot more in order to get your business at next level. The reality, unfortunately, is more often than not, the bank either are not in a position or make a choice not to provide that loan, that money to that end user. And so in my experience, it was a case of I already owned a property, and therefore, if I wanted to get a loan, I needed to put the loan against my property. But if I didn't own a property, then they would have gone to the government scheme, and they would have been able to, back half of the loan from not having a property. So in that scenario, then it's almost as though, you've taken enough of a risk in purchasing a property, because there is an element of risk there. You've managed to get a mortgage, you've bought a property, and therefore, if you want to take another risk in starting a business, you need to put that on your own property. If you haven't taken the risk in having a property, then you can put the loan against the government. That's not fair, first. Second, forget the property, forget the assets. Even if you had a business, the hurdles you need to jump through to actually get a bank loan are ridiculous. And unfortunately, because of the changes in the way we bank, and some of this will be about technology, you don't get a business banking manager until your business is turning over often $500,000 or more. So if you can't get a business banking manager, you can't build a relationship with someone who can say, actually, I know you, I know your business, I know what you need. Okay, fine, you need a bit of an overdraft here. Okay, you need a bit of money to buy that there. You need this, you need that. You don't have that person that has that relationship in your local bank or wherever you can go to when you need it, when you have advice, or when you're looking for more money, or you need to invest or divest or whatever it is you need to do. And that is a major problem, because it's one thing for the government to say, here's some money, we want you, the bank, to utilize this money to provide loans. It's another thing to make sure the bank is doing the right thing and giving the loans to the right people. I understand the bank is in a difficult financial situation after the recession and so on. But the reality is, for the economy to continue to thrive, the business community is such an important part of the UK economy, or any economy. In fact, there was another stat that was really interesting today. And the stat is that women contribute 70 million. No, I'm sorry, I meant a B. 70 billion to the UK economy. And ethnic minority women contribute 25 to 30 billion. So if you're aware that that contribution is so vast and that the businesses are, in the most part, succeeding, why are they not able to support those businesses by giving them the financial assistance that they require? It's a major issue. And I'm not saying that the finance is everything. That's not all they need. That's not all businesses need. But it is a major factor. Because some people will never be able to take their business from being a small sole trader, one-man band type of business to a larger business, if that's what they want. Not everyone wants that, but if that's what they want, not everyone will be able to do that if they don't have the financial ability to take it from one level to the next level. It's just not possible. And then the other issue that we all discussed was, okay, fine, you don't give them the finance because you don't feel that they have a worthy enough business plan. You don't feel like they're ready to take on that sort of financial they don't really take on that sort of financial debt, I guess. Okay, fine, because maybe their business plan's not ready. People have gone to other organisations, like some of them mentioned the Funding Circle or Startup Loans or their bank and so on, and they're not able to get the funding because they just say no. But why? Why are they not saying why they've said no? To say, oh, I'm sorry, we're not going to give you the loan this time. how is that going to help anyone? You know, from that information, you said, no, you're not going to get the loan this time. Okay, so what can I do next time to get the loan? Or what do I need to change? What is it about my business plan that you don't feel is clear enough or coherent enough or persuasive enough to make sure I get that loan? That's what they need to be telling you. They need to give you enough feedback. You could take that information away and make your business proposal better. And I just feel like the information isn't out there. And so, you know, some of the conversation led to, you know, well, what about, you know, back in the day, there was Business Link, or there was this other organization that helped people and mentored them. And the reality is, along my journey of 6 or so years, you know, at the beginning, I went to some of these organizations to get information, to get help. And what I found, I'm going to be bluntly honest here, is they were often people who were giving business advice and consultancy or mentoring, who had never started a business. They just they didn't have any knowledge or experience in starting an actual business. Now, I did a business degree. So I, if I'm honest, don't need people to give me the textbook illustration of what business means. I don't need people to explain, you know, some of the kind of, you know, definitions of different types of business, or what I needed was someone who'd been there, done it, to explain what to do next, how to be innovative, what to change, how to change it, where to go, who to meet, that sort of thing. You need that innovative person. You need someone who's really switched on, understands what it's like, is ready to change, make an impact, work with you, grasp that information and take you and make you want more, desire more, work bigger, think bigger, whatever. They just weren't given that. And I just think that now, in this current economic climate where actually job security is decreasing, people are not as secure in their jobs, where in terms of the, you know, industrial revolution, technology is having a huge impact on the types of jobs available and the longevity and security of those jobs, when actually there are jobs and careers now that didn't exist 5 years, whatever, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years ago, didn't exist then. So, you know, how are we preparing our young people for that? So we're in a time where actually most people in the future are going to have to be self-made. They're going to have a portfolio career. They're going to have to be self-motivated. They're going to have to work on contracts and not have the stability of a long-term career in some cases. So if that is the case, why are we not preparing people to have the knowledge and understanding of making a business plan, getting financial support, getting the mentoring? You know, why are we just not preparing people for life after education or after a career? And even, I kind of went off tangent there, but it's fine. I'm just going to keep going. Even one of the women around the table, she was saying about, you know, mothers. So when a woman becomes a mother and maybe decides that a career isn't going to work for them in terms of their family aspirations, maybe that's when they decide they want to start a business, and they want to give them that flexibility in terms of time. Again, that's a time when actually, where's the support? Where is someone to mentor them who really has been there and done it? Where is that person to help them make that business plan, create that business plan? Where is this information? And I don't know. Anyway, I feel like I've ranted for 19 minutes. But I left feeling a little bit frustrated. A little bit like, you know, great, we've had this conversation and I don't feel like some of this information is new to you. It's not new to the government. This hasn't suddenly happened. We can't be the first group of women to have flagged the issues around support for entrepreneurs, for financial support, for the banks needing to do more and being forced almost to do more by the government when they give them government-backed money. You know, we can't be the first group of women to have said these things. And this isn't an ethnic minority issue. This is a support for SME issue. this, by some intents and purposes, is a women issue. But the reality is that as women and potentially as ethnic minority women, that's 2 extra things that often make business harder. And so the government and the UK need to be doing more to support those people and those women who, by these stats, 35 billion, 20 to 30 billion, are contributing an awful lot. What do we need to be doing to make their contribution worthwhile and to make sure they feel supported? And what do we need to be doing in reference to education to make sure the next generation of women, young people, ethnic minorities, to make sure they feel supported in making decisions about their future, whether that is entrepreneurial decisions or just generally taking charge and taking control of their future career ambitions. You know, what do we need to be doing? And why is it taking so long? Anyway, I think that's rant over. If I think of anything else, I'll just let you know. But anyway, that was it. If you would like me to talk about any other topics, or if you want to ask me any questions or want me to record a video back, I am happy to do that. Because I think this is a conversation we need to be having, and I think we need to open it wider, because there just needs to be more information. Actually, I have one more point, just tiny, about financial literacy. Like, you know, we're saying that the banks are saying no to people, they're rejecting them for loans. You know, there are other organisations like Funding Circle who are rejecting people for loans, but they're not really telling them what they need to do in order to get those loans. And I think a part of the problem is financial literacy. It's how much do people really know about finance? How much are people aware of in terms of what they need to do and the steps they need to take to get finance? How many people are aware of the importance of their credit rating whilst they're at university and sometimes, or at school or whatever age, and are making decisions that they don't realise is going to impact their financial future? Because actually, when the bank looks at their credit rating and they see that they defaulted on their mobile phone bill back when they were 17 and didn't think it was going to be an issue, and it now becomes an issue. You know, how much information are young people aware of about this? And I just don't feel like we're getting enough of this information into schools. And so if we're not getting into schools, where does it need to be? Anyway, that truly is me over. If you are thinking of starting a business and you don't know what to do, you don't know how to write a business plan, I have a book that I happen to have written called Self-Made, The Definitive Guide to Startup Business Success. And it really does document every step you need to take in order to start planning for your business, approach banks, look at finance, look at marketing, getting customers, and all that good stuff. And we also have mastermind groups. So if you want to work with myself and my co-author Byron in person, then we will help you to make sure your business is commercially viable. But until such time, if you have any issues that you want me to raise with Downing Street, with number 10, with whatever, just let me know. Comment, subscribe, send me stuff, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, I'm on all of them. So I'll see you there. Thanks very much.